Well, I'm absolutely terrible when it comes to getting rid of anything. I hate even throwing away tiny little pieces of paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all of these pieces into strips. I don't want all the strips to be the same size because when I make my critter, I want it to be a little bit different. So I'm just going to cut the strips out, all my pieces, into various widths. Doesn't matter about the length because I'm going to cut them and stick them to make the critter, so the length doesn't actually matter. Get away from that, get that white bit off, and just snip them all up into quite a few pieces so that I've got lots and lots of different interesting bits. This is an old soap packet, and as my husband says, I keep that much junk. It's unbelievable. He also, I mean, he can't believe how much stuff I send to people, and I don't think that he's got his head round why I send what he would class as junk the other side of the world. But anyway, I do, and I enjoy doing it. I love making up Happy Mail parcels and spreading some happiness across to other people. I also love getting parcels, so it's always a bit exciting when you open some mail and you get things that you wouldn't normally get in your own country. I always think that that's quite exciting, especially if you get newspapers or magazines or something like that. If you can hear something clickety clickety clicking around, it's my dog who doesn't seem to want to sit down. She's wandering around, so you can hear her paws click 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 on the floor as she snouts around the place. I think that she's hoping that someone's dropped a pork pie somewhere, but she's wandering and she's looking and sniffing and snouting the place up. So that's it. I've cut quite a few strips there. What I'll do is I'll cut the rest of these and then I'll come back to you. So I've got all my strips cut up. I'm going to draw a face now, so I'm going to use an old envelope and I'm going to just draw a shape for a face using just a black pen. And what I will do is I will just draw a rough shape that I'm going to do as a face. So like this, just a round one like that. This pen's nearly running out. Nice and dark, like that. I'm bothered about the inner edge of the circle because that's the edge that we're going to see. I get a feeling that I'm going to need another black pen because this one is not very dark. It will do. Okay. That's my rough shape. I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to try and cut out round the edge of the black, so I'm leaving a black line. I'm not doing a very good job of it. Like that. I don't want any white on it because I want the black outline on the face. And then I'm just going to just go around it so that I've got a nice thick black line. I'm actually going to go and find a better pen, I think, because this one's actually a whiteboard pen, which they don't do very well on paper. They tend to bleed into the paper. Maybe it will, maybe it'll do okay. And that's it. So I've got a nice black outline for it, and that means that it'll stand out on the critter. And then I'm going to draw some eyes and a nose on it. So I'm just going to do really, really simplistic eyes. like that. Literally easy shaped eyes. Now when you're drawing the eyes, you can make them as silly as you want. What I tend to find is that the simpler you do them, the better they look. So if you keep it really simple with just block shapes, they do look a lot better than if you try and put lots and lots of detail on them, because with the critters being so brightly coloured and quite complicated, you don't want the faces to be like too fussy. Fussy is the word I'm looking for. I'm going to put a pointy nose on him with stripes, like that. So it's just got a pointy nose with stripes. Don't think he needs a mouth. Some of them I do put eyes, nose and mouth, others I just put eyes on. I've gone over that one too much now, so he's got a little eye with a thick outline and a big eye with a thin outline, so let's go over that a little bit more. Like I say, it's simplistic but just a bit strange, and that's it. So that's one of my faces. I'm going to go ahead and draw quite a few other faces, just very, very simplistic. Okay, I've drawn my faces, so they're all there. I'm going to actually make my critters now. So what I've got to do is I've got to think about the size of them and how big I actually want them to be with the faces. I'm going to use a piece of scrap paper as a background. I'm just going to use a piece of old envelope as a background. So I'm just going to have a look and see how big I want my critter. I want each one to be about that size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roughly think to myself, this piece here is going to make 3. Once again, clickety click. The dog's coming in, you can hear her walking on the floor. She's probably going to knock the table as well, so the camera's going to go flying. So I'm going to make 3 critters here. So I've just put these on here. This is roughly how it's going to pan out. So I'm going to put 3 there, that one, and then I can put one on here as well. So I'm going to use these backgrounds for my critters, just so that I can stick my colours on. Cut the pieces out roughly to the sizes that I want them to be. I'm going to cover all of the background. I'm not going to actually plan it around the faces. I'm going to actually cover the whole, and then you've got quite a sturdy piece of paper as a background. So that one there, and well, literally all that I'm doing is I'm cutting rough sizes out, and then those 3 there, that one, this one. It's a bit of a weird one because this one's a nose and then it'll be 2 eyes separate. It reminds me a bit like Pumbaa, the warthog off The Lion King. So that one, and then this here, it's going to be on this 3 pieces. So let's make a start. Right, let's get going. Some people, when they make these, they use glue sticks, but I like my white glue. Over here in the UK we tend to call it PVA glue. I know that you can get Mod Podge and other brand names. This is just very, very cheap white PVA children's glue. So I'm just going to cover the background with plenty of glue. And then I'm going to just randomly select my pieces of paper to put on here to make my background of the critter. So I am just going to stick them on in any random fashion because that's what I'm like. I don't really do much planning. I'm going to do a mismatch of colours, make sure that none of the colours are touching. I'm sure that I can do that. And just make sure that I'm sticking each strip down with care, as I do everything with care. I don't like, when I'm doing this sort of a project, I don't like anything to be even across, so I like all my strips to start and stop at different places. And I know it's a bit strange, but it's the way I am, it's the way that I like it. I like it to be really, really random, so everything starts and stops, as you can see, at different places. And I don't want anything to look uniform across. I'm tending to do it in stripes, so I'm doing it in strips up and down. You can do them across, so you can make it so that they're the wide strips. I quite like it if the critter has the strips going from top to bottom, because it gives the illusion of them being taller, and I like that. Quite like that there, because it's got some old writing on it. It's actually got my name on it. Now what you've also got to remember is some of these are going to be covered up by the face, so you can't do too much planning of where you want things to be, because what will happen is the actual face will cover up some of this. It'll cover up quite a large part of it, so you can't really do much planning. Well, there's no point in doing much planning. Quite like this. This was a piece of like printed paper with some butterflies and some flowers on it. I think that looks quite nice there. We'll put another piece of that dark pink in just to end it off. Not bothered about having a tone edge there. And then we'll have a long strip of pink. Once again, it's that I really don't want any pieces to look like they've got a line going across and the uniform. Don't know what this is going to look like, because if you notice the colours, there's not many variations on colours, is there? It's mainly pink, which is one of my favourite colours, so that's why it's mainly pink. That bit of that. Now when you're doing these, you could also use just magazines, so if you've not got any bits and pieces from your artwork, you can just use magazine pages, and if you just vary the colours and vary the way it looks, you can make some really, really interesting critters just from literally one magazine. So look, it's not going to take me long to just finish this. I'll have some music paper in there. I quite fancy making some black and white ones, so just making them out of old book pages, but I haven't got round to sort of planning that yet. Now then, will this look right if I put a green at either end, or will it look too uniform? Nope, I think that'll do. Let's have a look. What colour shall we have at the bottom? Pink. And I think that will actually do. So I shall just trim that off. And that is one done. So I will now put the face on. And he is already Is it a he? I think it is a he. He's done. And then I'm going to stick the glue over the top, just so that it's fully done or fully covered. Now, because I've used a dry marker, I know that the colour won't blur on it. So that's that done. All I need to do now is let it dry. So this one's just about dry. So I'm going to now do the outlining and cut him out into my critter shape. So I'm once again just using a dry white pen, and I'm going to roughly draw my shape on. Now what I like to do is I like to draw the shape, cut it out, and then go back around it again with a dark pen. As you can see, it's not quite dry, but it'll be fine if I don't peel all the glue off. So what I like to do is I like a tooth sort of a shape, because they're like a tooth monster. Even though I call them a crazy critter, they are actually like a tooth. So once again, I'm going to cut him out and then go around the edge and blacken up the edges so that there's a nice dark outline. My impatience means that my critter isn't quite dry, so it's hard to cut out. It's also hard to write on. What I've just had a thought was, if I make some of these, what I can probably do is photocopy them, or use my printer to photocopy them and then make them into a transfer. That would be quite fun. And the fact that there's no writing on them or anything would mean that they don't look strange if they're a transfer, because the transfer, once the transfer, it gives you a mirror image. So there you go, that's it. It's still very damp, it needs drying out, but that's what the critter looks like, just waiting for an outline in black and just finishing off. Okay, we're just finishing them off now, so that's 1, 2 done. I think these are going to look quite nice inside some Happy Mail just to send off. I did actually think to myself, with these 3 that I did, if I'd have done them on a bigger piece of paper, sort of an A4 piece, I could have made them into an envelope. So that's what I might do. I might make an envelope like this and just draw the critters on, and then when my Happy Mail's received, the person who receives it can just cut them out and make them into critters. I hadn't thought about that. I'll just do one more and then we're finished. I think this one looks quite pig-like, so I'm going to do a thick black line. He's going to have a bit of a weirdy shape on him, like that. A mad tooth. I still haven't found my small scissors. Knowing my luck, one of my lot will have used them for something, and they'll be either out in the garden, in the sink, I don't know, on the dog bed, you name it. I'll have a wander around and I'll find them somewhere that I least expect them to be, and somewhere that does them the least good. So you can imagine, outside in the rain because somebody's cut some herbs with them, or I don't know, for whatever reason they've used them out to cut a pipe on the car or to cut some wire with. You never know. You never know where you're going to find your scissors in this house. And there you go, that is it. That's another one done. Thanks for watching, and hopefully these will be popping up in your Happy Mail soon.